Hey everybody, welcome to Play, Rank, Share, the show where I cover the marquee PlayStation 5 titles, create an ever-evolving ranking of the best PlayStation 5 games, and share my opinions with you. My name is Tyrus, and this episode is all about Dying Light 2. If you are playing Dying Light 2, make sure to leave a comment below. I would love to hear your thoughts about the game. Also, please remember to like this video as it helps other people find the show, and with that out of the way, let's jump in. Released in early February 2022, Dying Light 2 is a long-awaited sequel to the original game and has developer Techland boldly self-publishing this game. Taking place 15 years after the onset of a zombie apocalypse, protagonist Aiden finds himself entering Villedor, one of the last functioning societies left in the world. Aiden arrives looking for his long-lost sister, and on his journey throughout the vast city encounters an eclectic group of individuals, and you further learn about the socio-political structure of Villedor and the problems it faces. I wanted to start by saying the most enticing thing about my experience in Dying Light 2 is the parkour-themed and fast-moving nature of open-world traversal. Traveling around the open world was my favorite part about this game. You're encouraged to stay high above the streets below that are filled with zombies, as it's safer and more productive to travel on top of buildings. The game also eventually unlocks a glider mechanic that further lets you seamlessly travel across the city. Admittedly, I thought Aiden moved too slow at the start of the game, but making some investments into sprinting abilities alleviated this problem for me. Veterans of PRS know that I have a tendency to care about the locomotion of a game, as the time you spend in between quests can really help or hinder a game experience when you're in an open world. So far, I think Dying Light 2 is the best first-person game on PS5 to nail that feeling of moving fast and effortlessly through a game world. However, in this case, it's a bit problematic because I enjoyed the journey between the story missions more than the actual destinations. The characters you encounter in the story are void of strong personalities or memorable moments. Pivotal story characters are even given the most generic names, such as Frank or Jack, making them hard to remember or even tell apart from each other. By far the best part about the story is the character Lawan, who is a reoccurring character and played by actress Rosario Dawson. Lawan offered a more complex character throughout the game as you learned about her past and her present motivations. I did enjoy scenes with Lawan, even if the supporting cast around her wasn't anything notable. But finally, main character Aiden only has a surface-level backstory that doesn't elevate the main story in any way. He really reminded me of Ethan Winters from Resident Evil Village, a vanilla main character who is only used to shepherd you to the various settings of the main plot. The supposed branching options within the narrative also bothered me, as they didn't prove to have a significant impact on the story. There are choke points that occur frequently during the story where certain events happen to certain characters regardless of the choices you make. There were times where I betrayed characters and sided against them, only a couple missions later to find that we are working together again. It made the choices feel arbitrary and meaningless, with the only bright spot being that you need to make certain choices during the story to get a good ending. But still, I found it off-putting to have no consequence for your choices until the final moments of the game. There are also certain side objectives in the game that can influence the larger world around you, and this was promoted heavily in the marketing of the game ahead of release. However, these changes were extremely minimal to the point where I barely noticed them when they were implemented. These branches felt half-baked and made it seem like it was included only to have a promotional talking point in the pre-release marketing cycle. There were also some design aesthetics that I found very off-putting. For example, when the game rained, the main effect you would see is raindrops literally hitting your screen. I found this disorienting, and it made it harder for me to see things in the world, especially at night when the game is significantly darker. This leads to my overall issues with nighttime graphics in the game. Especially with more zombies lurking around the map, it was hard to see and navigate around Villedor, making me always prefer to play during the daytime. Dying Light 2 does offer a large and full open world, and if you are vibing with the aesthetics and gameplay mechanics on hand, there is a lot to keep you entertained. While the developers went viral saying it would take over 500 hours to see everything in the game, players likely have a good 60 to 80 hours of content to get through to experience all the significant and meaningful content within it. You can choose to create more safe rooms for yourself by completing the platforming windmill challenges. If you prefer combat-themed challenges, there are nighttime activities that have you facing off against the zombies when they are more dangerous. Finally, there are over 80 side quests in the game that will further flesh out the greater world around you. While Dying Light 2 wasn't necessarily my cup of tea, and my problems resided in presentation and story, the game certainly isn't short of providing enough content for those that are big fans of the game. Dying Light 2 is a game that mechanically doesn't do anything wrong. Its release timing just unfortunately coincided with what seems to be two of the best open world games ever made. When untangling my thoughts around Dying Light 2, I can't help but constantly compare it to Horizon Forbidden West and Elden Ring, both of which offer what I feel like are better experiences. While the basis of Dying Light 2 is sound, it also struggles with a story that doesn't create many meaningful characters, and a lackluster plot makes it difficult to want to continue the 20-hour campaign. Fun, parkour game design is weighed down by combat that doesn't feel rewarding and left me disappointed after I was eagerly awaiting this game in the months leading up to launch. Techland made a bold step to release this game independently, and I can't help but wonder if a publishing oversight from a company like 2K or Deep Silver would have resulted in a more polished and enjoyable experience. Overall, I think Dying Light 2 is an okay game, and I give it a score of 6 out of 10. When it comes to ranking Dying Light 2 amongst all of the PlayStation 5 games that I have played, it unfortunately ends up towards the bottom of the list. With the disappointment in story combined with lackluster combat, I can't help feel like Dying Light 2 is one of the more meager PlayStation 5 games that I have played. On top of an already crowded spring for PS5 releases, I have trouble recommending this game when Horizon Forbidden West and Elden Ring offer more engaging experiences. At the end of the day, I decided to rank Dying Light 2 at number 36 on my list of best PlayStation 5 games. If you want to see where your favorite PS5 game ranks on the list, be sure to check out the comments below. Thank you for watching this episode of Play, Rank, Share. Future episodes of PRS are on the horizon, including a review for Elden Ring and a ranking of all PlayStation Studios games that are on the PS5. What are your thoughts on Dying Light 2? Make sure to let me know in the comments below, and until next time, don't stop sharing.